Right, friends. Chalo. Okay, guys, let's continue with where we have left. So this is where we have left in the last session, right? Okay. So in this session, what eventually we are going to do is that we're going to look into the reciprocal services. Okay, before I get to that, I'll just get to the last video. Just a second, guys. Yeah. So day 7. So many of you guys have commented really well. So Manuel Royson, thank you so much, sir, for good costing revision classes. Thank you, buddy. Taraka Siddhartha, I have paid tuition fee for costing, I gained nothing. And here I didn't even pay a single rupee but gained immense knowledge. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much, Siddhartha. Thank you so much. It means a lot. And there is one doubt for Sriram. It's a silly doubt actually. But hey, still I'll answer, okay? I didn't find time to type actually, I'll answer. My health is not that good actually. So I'm taking a little bit of medicines. Anyway. John P. Samuel, sir, you're making this subject easier day by day. All your classes are an encouragement for students like us. Thank you, buddy. Thank you so much. Altaf, extremely talented professor you are. Thank you, buddy. Very humbled to hear that. Then we have Kalyan John. Sir, really, you're a concept king. Sir, really, I'm having my knowledge from you only, sir, in costing concepts. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, buddy. Then Trinath, my concepts are getting better and better from each passing day only because of you. Thank you so much, buddy. And Jay Prakash, Suhail, thank you. And so these are all the comments that I've got. And thank you so much, guys. See, comments mean a lot actually for us. That's why I keep on repeating, because see, for any person who creates something, it's always the appreciation from the audience is everything, you know. So thank you so much. It means a lot. I personally felt very happy, guys. So let's continue with this session. Hope I'll satisfy you with this session as well. Right. Chalo, let's move on to the next one. Reciprocal services method. See, already in the last class I've told you, when it comes to secondary distribution of overheads, all the different methods that we have got for secondary distribution of overheads, we have broadly classified them into 3, correct? One is a direct distribution method, other one is step ladder, third one is reciprocal services. In reciprocal services, that is further classified into 3. Okay, simultaneous equations, method, repeated redistribution method, trial and error method. Okay, anyway, so far what are all the things that we have covered? We are done with the first one, where we have learned that in direct distribution your service departments will provide service only to the production departments, and in case if there is information available in the question where one service department will be providing service to other service departments, you got to ignore that information and then you have to eventually solve the question. That's what we have told. Step ladder method, pretty interesting it was. First you need to know the order of apportionment, and that will be based on maximum number of services being provided, and here it will be one-way traffic, in the sense a service department can either provide service or receive service from the other service department or to the other service department. For example, if he has provided service, he cannot take back the service. If he has taken service, he cannot provide service. That's what we have seen, and it was quite a bit interesting in the last session. Now in this session we're gonna go for reciprocal services. So obviously from the name itself you can understand, in reciprocal services what we're gonna talk about eventually, a particular service department can give and take services, Are you able to understand? So no problem over here. So absolutely, if you have to do secondary distribution of overheads as per any of these reciprocal services method, we have 3 methods over here. Okay, so one is simultaneous equations, then we have repeated redistribution method, then we have trial and error method. Any of these methods, so if you have to do secondary distribution, in all these cases all the service departments will not only give service but also they will take service. So it is pretty much on the simpler side. Okay, So now we'll see the methods one by one. First we'll go for simultaneous equations, then we'll go for repeated redistribution method, at last we'll go for trial and error method. Trial and error method is not that important, you'll understand why when I explain you. Okay, chalo now. So reciprocal services method. These methods recognize the fact that a service department can give as well as take back service, obviously, from other service departments. So reciprocal services methods are conceptually preferable, of course, and widely used. Why? Because you don't ignore anything, you consider everything, that is giving as well as taking back service. So let us now understand how secondary distribution of overheads is made under reciprocal services method. To understand that, we do have an example. So what is the example? As you can see here, a factory is having 3 production departments, A, B and C. 2 service departments, boiler house and pump room. The boiler house has to depend upon the pump room for supply of water, and pump room is in turn dependent upon the boiler house for supply of steam power for driving the pump, which means they are reciprocally, they are providing service as well as receiving service. Okay, the expenses incurred by the production department during the period are for A so much, for production department B so much, for production department C so much, service department boiler house so much, service department pump room is so much, which means when amounts are individually given to all the production departments and service department, it means primary distribution is over, because already the amounts are allocated. You got the point? So everybody has got their own share, so which means primary distribution is done. The expenses of boiler house and pump room are apportioned to the production departments on the following basis. This is the way they are providing their service. Boiler house is giving 20% service to A, 40% service to B, 30% service to C, 10% service to pump room. Pump room is providing 40% service to A, 20% service to B, 20% service to C and 20% service to boiler house. So show clearly as to how expenses of boiler house and pump room would be apportioned to A, B and C departments using simultaneous equations method, repeated redistribution method, trial and error method. That's what we are going to do. Okay, I'll give you 1 minute. Quickly read this question at least 2 times, because once you have read the question clearly, then understanding the solution will be a lot more easier. So read the question. And one more thing, for all the updates with respect to the classes, both CA final and CA costing, CA inter, that is costing, as I told you, the subjects that I take in CA inter are costing, cost and management accounting, that is 100 marks paper, and FM, economics for finance. Okay, this is 100 marks paper, 60 and 40. Okay, so right now the costing recording is going on. Slowly after this we'll go for FM and economics for finance. I've done PG in economics as well, and I'm a civil service aspirant. I went for interviews as well, so I personally feel that I'm pretty good in economics. You'll feel that. I've personally written a special notes, handwritten notes for economics as well. So once I'll start uploading the videos, you'll understand that it's gonna be altogether a different level. That one thing I can promise, because I just love the subject. See, unless you love the subject, you cannot give the best, you know. Just like that, forcefully you cannot get extremely good knowledge. You just need to love it, you know. You want best, you got to love it. So you start loving costing, you'll definitely get extremely good knowledge. And that's the best way, because once you love things, you will do automatically, the best inside you comes. So I personally don't believe that there are few students who are intelligent, there are few students who are not intelligent and all this, memory gifted, something like that. I don't believe in all this nonsense. I just believe that there are 2 types of people: those who practice and those who do not practice. That's it. That's it. Those who practice, automatically he becomes intelligent, he becomes memory king, he gets succeed, he gets good marks, he gets good job, he gets things done. Those who don't practice, other side. That's it. It's as simple as that. I don't really believe in all the other things. I personally believe they are absolute nonsense. Okay, so it's all about the concentration power. It's all about the willingness, the willpower that you have got, how much you are willing to put in. That's all. See, I can openly tell you that I'm not that good with respect to taxes, not because I can't answer or I can't write the paper, but I don't love it, basically. Still I got marks. But the thing is that, for example, if you take law and all, I got exemptions in all the exams that I've written, be it CS or CA, at all the levels. But I don't love it, you know. But still, I know the subject. See, but when it comes to costing, I scored only decent marks. But the point is that I love the subject, you know. There's a lot of difference in that. So, and again, one thing that I would like to tell you guys is that many of you guys decide based on marks. Okay, for example, if you have your seniors, somebody has got 90, you believe that he's intelligent, whatever he says you'll follow. Somebody has got 55 or 60, you believe that what is there to follow, it's normal marks. I personally feel that taking decision based on these kind of things doesn't work all the ways. Why? Because maybe the guy who has got 90 marks would have at least studied the subject for 400 hours. Maybe the guy who has got 50 to 60 would have done 2-day batting or 3-day batting, There is possible. Yes, yes, it's possible. It all depends upon how smartly you prepare. Maybe he has done some around 80 hours of study. Then in that case, he's a lot more intelligent, relatively. Okay. So there are so many other cases. So that's why what I personally tell you is that these quantitative factors don't decide things much of a time. Okay. Please keep that in mind before you assess somebody. You understand the point? That one thing I would like to say. Because as a society, we have this disease that we always quantify everything, and quantity is what really matters. Because I can give you my own live example. I scored 55 something in semi-final costing, but then when I've written UPSC exam all over the country, out of thousands of CAs, in that I'm pretty sure that there are at least some 20 to 30 rankers. I topped the exam, in the whole country. So what I would like to tell you here is, see, that's how the reality goes. Okay, so don't decide based on marks and stuff like that. Okay, you don't know how much is the effort that went through before you get the marks, so you can't really judge the intelligence and the capability of a person merely based on marks. Okay, so this is something that I wanted to say, because I've seen few people are getting really humiliated because of these things, despite they're having extremely good knowledge in other subjects also, not just my subject which I'm talking about. So don't do that. So when it comes to this class also, just don't just what can I say, get carried away by ranks and stuff like that. You just see how they teach. You can easily understand the depth of the subject from their teaching itself. You can understand the love towards the subject from the teaching itself, and once you know that that particular faculty really loves the subject, and that's the one you need to go for. That's my opinion. You might differ, it's okay. Okay, everybody has got different opinion, it's a free country. Okay, I just wanted to say just my thoughts. Hope you like it. Chalo, let's move on. Okay, I hope you guys have read this question. If you're done with it, chalo, let's start solving. Okay, let's start solve this example. Right, first we're gonna go with which method? Simultaneous equations method. Okay. Okay, now I want you guys to keep the question in front of you. Right. So understand one thing over here. I'll just show you the question. Boiler house expenditure is 2,34,000. Pump room expenditure is 3 lakhs. Okay, let me write it this way. Boiler house is equal to, how much is the boiler house that he has given? 2,34,000. Correct? Boiler house is 2,34,000. Now if you look at the question over here, pump room provides 20% of its service to boiler house, which means the total of boiler house will be how much? 2,34,000. That is its expenses after the primary distribution step, plus it is receiving how much of service from the pump room? 20% of the service from pump room. That will be the total expenditure of boiler house. Similarly, pump room is equal to, what is the expenditure of pump room? 3 lakhs. Correct? Okay, plus it is receiving how much of service from boiler house? 10%. Now tell me, can you virtually solve these two equations? It's not possible. Why? Because solving is possible equations, of course, but what I'm trying to tell you is that here you cannot take these numbers. Why? Because boiler house is equal to 2,34,000 plus 20% of pump room, where pump room is again 3 lakhs plus 10% of boiler house. Are you able to understand? Therefore, before we start going for solving this as per simultaneous equations method, first what you have to do, solve these two equations and figure out how much is boiler house eventually after receiving the service from pump room, and how much is for pump room after receiving the service from boiler house. So for that, what we'll do is that we'll take boiler house over here, or we'll take pump room over here, either way. So pump room is equal to 3 lakhs, right, plus 10% of you have boiler house. In the place of boiler house, you substitute this, okay, this whole figure, right guys, you substitute that over here. So it's gonna be 2,34,000 plus 20% of pump room. Correct? So pump room is equal to 3 lakhs. Look at your question, you got all the information from the question. Plus 10% of 2,34,000 is how much? 23,400 plus 10% into 20% of pump room will give you 0. Okay, Okay, 0.02, right, which is nothing but 2%. So you can do that yourself. 2% of pump room. How did I get this 2%? 10% into 20%. Okay, you can just multiply that, you'll get it. 10% of 20% is obviously 2%, which is nothing but 0.02. Anyway, why am I using calci? Anyway, chalo. So now this is nothing is there over here, which means you have got 1, correct? So 1 pump room minus 0.02 pump room, send it this side, which means 0.98 pump room is equal to 3,23,400. Pump room is equal to 3,23,400 divided by 0.98. You can send 0.98 this side, it divides. So pump room is equal to 3,23,400 divided by 0.98. That comes to 3,30,000. Okay, this is the value of your pump room. Okay, after receiving the service from boiler house. Now you can easily find out boiler house. So boiler house is equal to, what is the equation? Initially we have 2,34,000 plus 20% of pump room. So 2,34,000 plus 20% of, what is your pump room? 3,30,000. So that implies 2,34,000 plus, so 3,30,000 into 20%, 66,000. That implies, I think exactly it is 3 lakhs. Okay, so boiler house is 3 lakhs and pump room is 3,30,000. That's what we have got. Look at your question. Okay, so once we have calculated this boiler house and pump room after solving the equations, okay, then we can go for secondary distribution of overheads. So see here, secondary distribution of overheads as per simultaneous equations method. Okay, so as usual, first column will be particulars, then I'll have this basis, which is nothing but percentage, which is given in the question. Then we have got all the production departments, A, B, C. Look at your question. I'm looking at the question and picking up the numbers. Then we have boiler house as well as pump room, which are service departments. Okay, as usual, first we'll start with overheads after primary distribution, which is obviously given in the question. Now look at the question and pick up the numbers. First we have 8 lakhs for A, then we have 7 lakhs for B, 5 lakhs for C. Boiler house, what is given in the question is 2,34,000 and pump room, what is given in the question is 3 lakhs. So we should not be changing it. Okay, now first I'll start with, here there is no question of order of apportionment. See, order of apportionment will come only with respect to what? Step ladder method. When it comes to reciprocal services, whichever service department you want, you can start. You can either start with boiler house or you can start with pump room. Whichever you want, you can start. So there is no rules whatsoever. So I'll start with boiler house now. Now how much I have to reduce here from boiler house? As you can see, the number over here is 2,34,000. So which means that obviously I'll be distributing 2,34,000, correct? And I should be reducing 2,34,000 here, correct? Wrong, you should not do that. Just now we have calculated boiler house. How much we have calculated? 3 lakhs. So what you have to do, you need to reduce 3 lakhs over here. Now don't ask me question, sir, here 2,34,000 is only there. From 2,34,000, how can you reduce 3 lakhs? You will understand. Wait for a moment. So I'll be reducing 3 lakhs and then I have percentage in the question. Now I'm talking about boiler house, right? So boiler house, what are the percentages? 20, 40, 30, 10. 20%, 40%, 30%, 10%. So which means 3 lakhs into 20%, 60, 40% means double, so 1 lakh 20, 30% means 10% more, so 90, 10% means again 30,000. Okay, that's it. I hope the numbers are pretty much simple. Okay, after boiler house, the next one I would like to go is pump room. Now see here, how much is pump room that I have to reduce? Again, don't think that 3 lakhs plus 30,000, I'll write 3,30,000 over here. No, don't do that. Go to the equation, how much you have calculated pump room over here? 3,30,000. From there, you take the number and put it over here. Automatically, it should tally and it should become nil. Automatically, it should tally and it should become nil. Now, with respect to percentages, 40, 20, 20, 20. Okay. sorry, 40%, 20%, 20%, 20%. So 3,30,000 into 40%, 1,32,000. Okay, 3,30,000 into 20%, 66. Again 20%, 66. Again 20%, 66. Now see, automatically this will also tally. Okay, and then this you can just total it up. You'll get some figures over here. I'm not interested in calculations. Okay, so what you should write here, overheads after secondary distribution, and these two should become nil by automatically getting tallied. That's it. This is how you will do secondary distribution as per step ladder method. Quite a bit simple. Only thing is that you just need to figure out these equations calculations which I have told you. That is also pretty much simple, and then we are done. Okay. Now next thing is same problem. We can also do it as per what? Repeated redistribution method. That also I'll show you. Now have a look into the question. I'll show you how it is being done. So what method? Repeated redistribution method. Okay, let's see how it's getting done. So first column, as usual, I'll have particulars. Then I'll have basis. Then I have all the production departments, A, B, C, boiler house, and then pump room. Okay. First, as usual, overheads after primary distribution, which is directly given in the question. Kitna re? So 8 lakhs, 7 lakhs, 5 lakhs, 2,34,000, 3 lakhs. Okay, first I'll start with boiler house. As I told you, you can either start with boiler house or you can start with pump room. There are no rules. So boiler house kitna re percentages? So 20%. Look at the question, 40%, 30%, 10%. How much you have got in boiler house over here? 2,34,000. So you'll be taking 2,34,000 only as it when it comes to what? Repeated redistribution method. But when it comes to simultaneous equations method, that is different. You will not take 2,34,000. Here you will take 3 lakhs. Why? Because already you have created and solved the equations. After solving the equations, you will get 3 lakhs. So you should put 3 lakhs over here. But when it comes to repeated redistribution method, this is our step 1. We directly start with this particular statement completely. So therefore, how much is available over here right now with boiler house? 2,34,000. So reduce 2,34,000, and this 2,34,000 now it will be distributed. So 2,34,000 into 20%, 46,800. 2,34,000 into 40%, 93,600. 2,34,000 into 30%, 70,200. 2,34,000 into 10%, of course, 23,400. Done. Okay, now we'll go for pump room. How much is the percentage of pump room? Take it up from the question. So it is 40%, 20%, 20%, 20%. Now come to pump room. Now how much I have to take here for pump room? Add those two. 3 lakhs plus 23,400. So that will be 3,23,400. Okay, this much I have to distribute now. 3,23,400 into 40%. So 1,29,360. Again 3,23,400 into 20%. 64,680. Again 64,680. Again 64,680. You see, boiler house has become 0 basically. 2,34,000 minus 2,34,000. Again it has got 64,680. Why? Because pump room has provided some service to boiler house. Now again you have to start afresh. Again start with boiler house. Again go with 20%, 40%, 30%, 10%. Again start with boiler house, which is 64,680 now. Again distribute that in that ratio, 64,680 into 20%, 12,936. 64,680 into 40%, 25,872. 64,680 into 30%, 19,404. This is 10%, 6468, obviously. You got the point? Now again, what has happened? Pump room, it has become 0 basically. 3 lakhs plus 24,400 minus 3 lakh 23,000. Sorry, 3 lakhs plus 23,400 minus 3 lakh 23,400. But again, it has got 6468 because of boiler house. Now again, start with pump room. Same percentage, 40, 20, 20, 20. Again, start with pump room, 6468. Now again, 6468 into 40%, which is 2587.2. So I'll take 2587. 6468 into 20%, 1294. Again 1294. Approximation, we can take 1293 over here. Got the point? Now again, boiler house has got 1293. Again, start with boiler house. So it keeps on going till you get some, what can I say, a very small number like 5, 6, 8 rupees, 10 rupees or 3 rupees, something like that. That is where you will stop. Are you able to understand? Kya, and then you will total the, obviously production departments, and these two anyway, they will become what? Nil, even in this case. So as you are doing this repeatedly, so first I started with boiler house, I distributed them, then we started with pump room, we distributed, again pump room gave something to boiler house, again we have distributed boiler house, again boiler house given something to pump room, we distributed pump room, again pump room has given something to boiler house, we will again distribute it. So repeatedly, since you are distributing, this is referred as repeated redistribution method. Got the point? Okay, now let's come to the most important point. Exam focus. Okay, let's start with a question. So in the exam, if question is silent, then what? If the question is specific, then what? Are you able to understand? No. Because these are reciprocal services method, obviously in the question he should give you information with respect to one service department providing service to other service departments. All that information must be given. So if the question is specific, for example, it has asked you to follow repeated redistribution method, you need to follow the same. If the question has asked you to follow simultaneous equations, you got to follow the same. Okay, so follow the question blindly. Okay, if the question is silent, then you have option. Okay, for the same problem which has got reciprocal services, you can go for simultaneous equations, you can go for repeated redistribution, you can go for trial and error. Now which one you will go? Then what you do is that look at number of service departments. If the number of service departments is 2, go for simultaneous equations because it will save you a lot of time. Okay, if the number of service departments is greater than 2, then you don't have a choice. Go for repeated redistribution method. Go for repeated redistribution method. You got the point? See, even if the service departments are 2 also, you can go for repeated redistribution method. Nobody is stopping you. But what I'm trying to tell you is that it's just my advice. Why? Because simultaneous equations will save you a lot of time. This will save time. For your kind information, cost and management accounting, this paper, time is of hell lot of importance. So we cannot take chances in the examination. So that's why wherever there is possibility, we have to eventually save the time. So therefore, if the question is silent, when you have the choice of going for any of these 3 methods when it comes to reciprocal services, that is simultaneous equations or repeated redistribution method or trial and error method, my advice would be look at the number of service departments. If it is 2, then go for simultaneous equations. That will save you a hell lot of time. If it is greater than 2, of course you don't have a choice. Then go for repeated redistribution method only. Sir, no sir, if the service departments are 2, then also I'll go for repeated redistribution method. You can go. Nobody is stopping you. Are you able to understand? It's just my thought process so that it can help you in the examination. That's it. Nothing more than that. Now, here is the question. Sir, you forgot one method, sir. Trial and error method. Usko kya hua? Did you ignore it? No, I did not ignore it. Because the method itself is a copy of these 2 methods basically. Okay, I'll tell you how. Now come to repeated redistribution method. You see this particular portion of repeated redistribution method, the last part. This is step 1. This is step 1 of trial and error method, which is nothing but the last part of the repeated redistribution method. Do you see this step? The second step of simultaneous equations, this one. This is nothing but step 2. of trial and error method. You'll see that, don't worry. Okay, you know that this is step 1 of simultaneous equations. This is step 2 of simultaneous equations, correct? Keep this in mind. Now this is the only step of repeated redistribution method, correct? This is the only step. Now focus on this area. This. Okay. Now come to trial and error method. Okay, trial and error method. What is the first step? You see this? Exactly same. Okay, so you just follow the last 2 steps of repeated redistribution method, then total it up. You will get what? The result which you get after solving equations, that is 3 lakhs and 3 lakh 30. In simultaneous equations method, you solve the equation and calculate 3 lakh 30 and 3 lakh. In trial and error method, without equations, you do it this way. So that style is different. Eventually, you are getting 3 lakhs and 3 lakh 30. So the second step of trial and error method is similar to the simultaneous equations method second step, exactly same. So the first step is different. In simultaneous equations method, the first step is by creating equations, simultaneous equations, and then solving it. Whereas in trial and error method, I follow repeated redistribution method, last 2 service department steps. That's the only difference. So it is like a mix of simultaneous equations, which is the second step, and repeated redistribution method, which is the first step. That is your trial and error method. That's why it has not got any importance on its own. Are you able to understand? That's why nobody gives that sort of priority to this particular method. That's why repeated redistribution method and simultaneous equations method are quite a bit famous. Got the point? Got it, guys? Chalo, that's it. We are done with this. Now let's move on to the last step of this particular chapter, absorption of overheads. Okay, yeah, let's move on. Just a second. Right. Okay, let's come to the last step, that is absorption of overheads. Now, this is step 3. And of course, most important step. See, at the beginning of the chapter, we have learned that our objective is to find overhead cost per unit with respect to this particular chapter. And we know that there are 3 simple steps for us: primary distribution of overheads, secondary distribution of overheads, and absorption of overheads. Now coming on to absorption of overheads, the third step. Let's see how this step goes. Now listen carefully. Where does this step start? You'll have particulars as one column. You'll have, let's say there are 3 production departments. You will write overheads after secondary distribution, because when we are talking about third step, that is absorption of overheads, obviously overheads after secondary distribution, correct? Which means secondary distribution is already done, which means all your overheads will be present inside the production departments. So when you are about to kickstart the third step, that is absorption of overheads, all your overheads are present inside the production departments. Now there are no overheads in service departments because everything has been reapportioned back to production departments in the ratio of service that they have provided. So once we have entered third step, all your overheads are present inside the production departments. Okay. Okay, now you could say, sir, what is there, sir? Anyway, production department will be producing units, right? Or finished goods. So just divide it with units, you'll get overhead cost per unit. Object is done. Your entire chapter's target is reached. Okay, we got overhead cost per unit. You'll have direct cost per unit ready with you. Add it, you'll get total cost per unit. Add the profit margin, you get your selling price. Do your business. It's not that simple. Just like that, I cannot divide it with units. Sir, why, sir? Why? Because every production department will have a different predominant influencing factor. That's a keyword. Predominant influencing factor. What do you mean by predominant influencing factor, sir? Very simple. Suppose a production department is capital intensive. Capital intensive means full of machines. Then what is a predominant influencing factor? Machines. So in that particular production department, you cannot divide it with units. You should divide it with machines. Why? Because machines is the one that is predominantly influencing everything in that particular production department. Sir, suppose a production department is labor intensive, sir. Then what is a predominant influencing factor? Labor hours. Then you should be dividing with labor hours. So the point that I would like to tell you guys here is identify predominant influencing factor. and divide with that only. It can be Mishnas, it can be labor hours, it can be units. Apart from that, there are 3 other options are available. So totally 6 different types of options. So 6 different types are possible. First one, machine hours, frequently used. Labor hours, this is also frequently used. Units. Material cost means you will be getting your answers in percentage. Labor cost, prime cost. See, don't worry, although we have 6, these 3 are pretty much unused. So we will never use it. So these 3 are pretty important. We'll be using them only frequently, especially Mishnas. So the first step is to calculate absorption rate. The first step under step 3, which is absorption of overheads. So in absorption of overheads, you have got sub step 1. Let's put it this way. Under step 3, it is another sub step 1, where you divide your overheads with predominant influencing factor. You will be getting your absorption rate. It can be per mission hour, per labor hour, per unit. Once you get absorption rate, let's say, how do you get absorption rate? Very simple. In step 3, you just divide overheads with mission hours, or you just divide overheads with labor hours, depending upon what is the predominant influencing factor in that particular production department. Now, once you get the absorption rate, what do you have to do? Very simple. See here. So in third step, the first step is done. In third step, the first step is done. What is that? Calculation of absorption rate. So absorption rate calculation is done. Okay, this is done. How do you do it? Overheads divided by predominant influencing factor. Let's say it is Mishnas. Then you will be getting Mishnar rate. This is nothing but absorption rate. Let's say it is 10 per Mishnar. Okay, now sub step 2 of step 3. So next step will be, after calculating of absorption rate, is what? Very simple. Go to finished goods. Let's say you have got 3 types of finished goods, A, B and C. A takes 2 Mishnas, B takes 3 Mishnas, C takes 0.5 Mishnas. Now let's calculate overhead cost per unit, because this is our objective, right? How? Very simple. 2 Mishnas into, for every Mishnar, what is the cost? 10. 3 into 10. 0.5 into 10. So this will be 20. What is this? Per unit this is, not per hour. Per hour it is 10 into 2 hours. So per unit 20. 30 per unit. 5 per unit. So your target is achieved in 2 simple steps. So this step 2, we call it as absorption of overheads. So first step is calculation of absorption rate, where you divide overheads with predominant influencing factor. Sometimes people call this predominant influencing factor as base quantity also. You divide with that, you get your absorption rate. Then you multiply with number of hours in this case, otherwise labor hours, otherwise units, otherwise probably you'll be in case of units you'll get the answer directly. Otherwise it can be percentage if it is material cost or labor cost. So once you get the absorption rate, you multiply that with the number of hours, as in this case you get your overhead cost per unit. For this you add direct cost per unit, you will be getting your total cost per unit. You add your profit margin and your selling price is ready, and do your business without a fuss. Got it? Quite a bit simple. Okay, chalo, see here. So at the end of the secondary distribution process, the total overheads of the company are with the production departments. The next stage is to charge the overheads in production departments to each unit produced in those departments. The process of charging the overheads of the production department to the units produced is referred as absorption of overheads, which I have told you. Overhead absorption is the last stage in the overhead accounting process, because our objective of finding out overhead cost per unit is achieved at the end of this particular process. And this absorption process can also be called as recovery of overheads. That's what I told you. Absorption rate, recovery rate, predetermined rate, standard rate, budgeted rate, everything is nothing but the same. That's what I've told you. Okay. So absorbed overheads is nothing but recovered overheads. So absorption process is nothing but recovery of overheads, or you can say application of overheads, or you can say charging of overheads. These names are very important, remember. Otherwise you will feel that they are different. Recovery of overheads, absorbing overheads, application of overheads, charging overheads are nothing but the same. Recovery of overheads, absorbing overheads, application of overheads, charging overheads are nothing but the same. Got it? The process of absorption is done in two steps or two stages. I told you. First stage is to calculate absorption rate. Second stage is absorbing, which is nothing but charging overheads to products, which I have explained you already. You have an example over here. As I told you, absorption rate is equal to overheads divided by base quantity. Base quantity is nothing but predominant influencing factor. As you can see, overheads of the production department should first be linked to predominant factor that is influencing its incurrence. In the above example, it is assumed that production department overheads are incurred on the basis of labor hours work, which means they have presumed that labor hours is the predominant influencing factor, and that's why you have divided overheads with labor hours. So the base quantity can be anything out of 6 different methods. The base quantity can be mission hours, the base quantity can be labor hours, the base quantity can be units, the base quantity can be material cost, the base quantity can be labor cost, the base quantity can be prime cost. Got this, guys? It can be any out of this 6. In this example, he has used what? Labor hours. So first divided with labor hours, as he has divided over here, 20,000 divided by 5,000, 15 divided by 3, he has got absorption rate, which is 4 and 5. And in the second step, as you can see, P1, P2, the products is A and B over here, and you are just multiplying that with the rate. 3 hours into 4 per hour and 2 hours into 5 per hour. You got your overhead cost per unit. Pretty simple. Okay, you can just go through this example. I think it's pretty simple. Step 1 and step 2. Calculation of absorption rate and absorbing the overheads. That is step 2. Okay. 6 different types of absorption rates which I have told you. You can just go through that. You got it? That's it. There is one more important thing with respect to this particular chapter, that is concept of absorption, which I've already covered in marginal costing chapter. Therefore, I'm not going to cover over here. Otherwise, that would have taken another half an hour to 1 hour easily. But concept of absorption I've already covered in which chapter? Marginal costing chapter. So that's why I'm not covering concept of absorption over here. Because it's a rapid revision marathon session, we got to cover a lot. So I think I've done with all the important concepts over here. Okay, everything is done. So as you can see, you can just go through these things and eventually you can solve it yourself. Nothing much to be really thought over here. Got the point? Chalo, anyway, done. So with this, basically we are done with overheads chapter. So I have a homework for you today. Yeah, these problems anyway you can do, but let me give you a homework. This one will be your homework. Okay. Now I'm not going to tell you anything. You just try this, okay, on your own. Now that I've told you everything, first step, second step, third step, I've told you everything. So apply your knowledge and then try to do it. I think you guys will do one particular mistake, or you'll stuck in one particular step. What is that? I'll explain it in the next session. Next session I'll tell you how to actually solve this particular sum. That I'll tell you, and then I'll move on. Got the point, guys? But this you have to do it yourself. Got it? This particular problem. Okay, we've got so many chapters else to do. Otherwise I could have solved much more sums, but we don't have time. So whichever that is possible, you can just try. Otherwise you can just continue solving your study material sums, because anyway I gave you the concept. You have the entire concept material over here. You can just revise it and then move on. Got the point, guys? So that's it. I hope this is fine. So with this we are done with which chapter? Overheads chapter, right? So yeah, you can just go through this once, and if you guys got any doubt, you can just ask me. Even the mission hour rate sums are pretty simple and straightforward. Okay, you can just try to do it on your own. By this time you should be able to do it. In fact, if we got some decent hours, I shall be able to solve, but because of time constraint I have to stop it over here. So that's why we have solved all the concepts and concept based sums we have done, and that should be enough. Remaining you guys can just revise yourself. Got the point, guys? Chalo, that's it. Okay, guys, so next chapter probably will go for process costing, but before I get to that, with respect to this overheads chapter, you guys just revise and try to do some problems on your own. In case if you got any doubt, you just give me the problem number in the comment section. I'll see all the comments. Okay, in the comments I should find two things answers. One is this particular homework which I gave you. Array, where is that homework here? Okay, I'll try to figure out the answers for the homework. That is one thing. I'll see it in comments. Okay, apart from this, the other thing that I'll be looking out is if at all you find any of the other problems difficult, okay, right, you can just put that in the comment section. I'll see all the comments, and I'll take the maximum. So maximum comments, okay, will comment about which problem. That problem I'll take it up in the next session, and then eventually I'll solve it. Then we'll go for process costing chapter. Okay, that's what our total agenda is going to be. You got the point? So that's it for today. A little bit early, we're gonna finish it off. Don't mind, because I just want to start the new chapter afresh. So prior to that, I want you guys to try this also, because I can't just let you off and then I just can't go to next chapter. So that is the reason I'm giving you time now. So compulsorily try this seriously, because you're going to write the exam. So try it seriously. I'll try to figure out the answer in the comments. I'll be looking for your comments. Don't disappoint me. Don't disappoint me means I'm not expecting right answer. I'm just expecting participation. So I'm putting lots of efforts for you guys. Recording at night, night 1 o'clock, 12 o'clock and stuff like that, despite having all the other commitments. And all I need from you guys is to commit and solve this particular sum and comment. After that, if you have time, you can try any of the other sums, okay, and then if you find anything difficult, you can put it in the comment section. Okay, just you can write problem 1, problem 2 here. Anyway, you got numbers. I'll see the comments, I'll go through the comments. Whichever problem number received maximum comments, I'll solve it, or at least I'll share you the answer. Are you able to understand? Got it? Chalo, fantastic. So let's wind up this session over here. Thank you so much for your support. Next session we'll go with process costing, and then probably I'll go with standard costing, and then we got so many chapters. Then we need to go for activity based costing also for new syllabus. We've got lots of chapters to cover, and that is the reason I'm winding up this particular chapter over here. Otherwise, if I start solving all the sums, then within 25 to 28 hours we can't cover anything, because almost I think we have got 12 chapters, even more than that, and each chapter we have got hardly 1.5 hours, something like that. So we cannot cover the syllabus. That's the reason. Got it, guys? Chalo, let's wind up the session. Thank you.